So last January, Deal Machine started adding owner contact data in their system. It's free. When you sign up for Deal Machine, it's just included. So you have everybody's phone number, email addresses, everything. And this is really a huge thing because a lot of people spending a lot of money on skip tracing and on data. But what people aren't really utilizing are the email addresses. They're using the phone numbers to send out text messages and to do cold calling and all that, but the emails are just underutilized. So I've been an email marketer for 6 going on 7 years now, and I know the power behind email marketing. So I've put together a cold email system where you can download the emails out of Deal Machine, clean them, upload them to a cold email system, and just send out emails every day, right? Now, you can't send them all at once from one email because that's not how cold email works. If you do that, if you try to send them all from one email or something like Constant Contact or one of the email platforms, you'll just get shut down because you have no domain reputation, no history of sending email. So we have to do this with cold email. So last week, Deal Machine had me on to their master class that they host just for Deal Machine subscribers, and I talked to them about cold email. So right after this video, I'm going to play my portion of that master class where I talk about cold email and how you can generate leads daily coming into your inbox using cold email. All right, so if you're interested at any time during this video to check out my cold email course, my cold email community, I'm going to link to it below this video in the description and in the comments. So you can click on that. It's a school group. You can go over and check it out. But I really encourage you to watch this and to check out my community because it's a great way, like I said, to generate leads on a daily basis for your real estate business, your wholesaling business, your investing business, whatever you're doing in real estate, you can use it for anything. Okay. So here's the video. Enjoy.
All right. Let's get to David. All right. So quick little intro here. It's been a little bit since we had David on. I know he's been on quite a few times. I know he's just a good longtime friend of Deal Machine. I've known him for, I mean, since like day one I was here. He was has always been just an awesome partner and advocate for us. So always appreciate how great you've been and the value you bring to our community as well. And David's a real estate entrepreneur who has been a wholesaler. He's been a foreclosed homes inspector. He's worked in the mortgage industry. He's done a lot within real estate. He's also a professional marketer, like somebody who truly is like a master at how to effectively use things like email as a channel to grow your business online. And I know for you, David, like you're the founder of Wholesalers Toolbox, which highly recommend everybody checking that out. Put out great content, really focused on wholesaling, but real estate in general. You have the REinbox Leads now, community and course to help real estate professionals generate leads with cold email, which
Yep.
today's topic is all about. I know we're in there. My business partner here in St. Louis is going through your course right now. We're in the middle of warming up our emails and gonna be using that too and everything. So big fan of everything you've got going on. Appreciate you sharing your knowledge here today. So as we go through this, I'll hand it off to David, but feel free to put questions in the chat. I'll monitor the chat, or you can hit the raise hand button, and we'll try to do Q&A here as well. But thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, you say all the things that I've done, and it reminds me of how old I am and how many things I've done and tried and all that. So,
Just a lot of very experienced.
very seasoned, right?
There we
Very
go.
seasoned, right? So yeah, just to add a little bit to what Matt said, I've done a lot of things in real estate. At one time I was a licensed realtor, Michigan, Florida. I was a licensed mortgage broker. I've inspected houses. I've had crews rehabbing houses. So wholesaled. I've done pretty much everything in the real estate space. About 6 years ago, I started email marketing because I had started my website, the Wholesalers Toolbox, probably about 12 years ago. And most of my traffic was from SEO, right? Writing articles, putting content on the website, and did very well with that. but then got into email marketing. People kept telling me I needed to start doing it. Got into it, messed it up really bad. I didn't know anything about email marketing. Um, but then kept learning, kept doing things. So I've had a really good career as an email marketer. And for the longest time, because it's so cost effective to send emails, right? Because you've got an offer, you're trying to promote something or whatever. It's so cheap to send emails. For the longest time, I thought, how can I show wholesalers or people in the real estate space how to be an email marketer, right? How do we get the homeowner's email, get them into an email system, and be able to market to them? And that's was always a hurdle because typically in email marketing you create a lead magnet. You're like, hey, do you want this thing? Give me your email, and I'll give you the free thing and all that. But how do you get to the homeowner, right? Do you leave a note on their door? Hey, like opt into my email. I mean, that's hard to do. So last year, when you guys came out with the free skip tracing or the contact data, my mind just started spinning. I'm like, now, all right, now I got to do something with this because it's there, right? It's you've got all the email data, and like David said, not many people have paid much attention to that, right? Everybody wanted the phone numbers, everybody wanted to text and and do use the dialer and all that, but there's a gold mine in the email data. And so to go into email marketing a little bit, when you build a list, an email list, like Deal Machine's got an email list, or any business, any big business has an email list. You can't like open an email, get a domain, get an email, and then take 10,000 emails and dump them into a system and just email one day, right? Because all the data providers or the email service providers like like Gmail and Yahoo and Outlook are they know you have no reputation, and then one day you have an email and then you send out like all these emails. They're going to go, nope, it's not going to happen, right? And they'll block you. So with cold email, it's a system, right? So there's cold email platforms, and you sign up for a platform, and then you have to load up multiple emails in it. So you're only sending so many emails per day from each email. So instead of sending 400 a day out of one email, you're sending 30 a day out of 15 emails, right? And then you can effectively send out, when people reply to the email, it goes into in the cold email system. It goes into a cold email. The system I use it's called a Unibox. So all your replies come back to that email. So that's essentially what I did. And I started this back a few months ago. I said, I'm going to test this. I'm going to try the data. I'm going to extract 10,000 leads out of Deal Machine. I'm going to clean them, make sure they're good and clean, right? Deal Machine data is really good, but there's always some that like data's not perfect, right? So you want to make sure that they're clean, because you don't want to if you send out 500 emails, you don't want 20 of them to bounce back, because that's just going to be bad for your email reputation. So I clean them, upload them into a system, and email, right? And there's a way to write the emails, and I can go deeper into that if you want me to. But you just send 30 a day per email out of the accounts, and it's worked phenomenal, to be honest with you. I started with absentee vacant. I've done tax delinquent, absentee owner. Um, the best list so far was the vacant, absentee vacant, which had over a like I think about a 4.7% response rate, which is phenomenal compared to, I mean, like compare that to email or to snail mail or sitting on the phone all day cold calling people. I mean, like I put this in the system, turn it on, and it just emails throughout the day, and I get the responses. Once you get it set up, there's very little maintenance other than checking your email inbox. But it's bringing in leads for me every day. Now, of course, some of those are good deals. Some of them are retail deals, right? Because you'll get people like, yeah, I want to sell the house, and then you look at it and it's a retail deal. And then you get replies, of course, like anything with SMS or whatever you're doing, where people just say, no, I'm not interested, take me off your list. But I'm getting at least 2 to 3 solid leads a day of people that want to sell. And currently I'm sending, I'm not at 30 what I'm sending out. I think I'm down, I moved it down a little bit and I'm doing like 20 a day per email account or something like that. I added a few more accounts so I could mail a little bit less out of each account. But guys, it's working tremendously. The data's good, right? Like I said, you got to clean it because there's going to be some that, that are, you don't want to bounce back, but data's good. The responses are good and it's working, right? So what questions you guys got?
How do you clean the emails? From Nathan Martime.
There's plenty of them out there. There's the system I use is called Million Verifier, and it's pretty inexpensive. It's $37 to clean 10,000 records. And then if you buy more credits, it gets cheaper as you go up. So it's pretty inexpensive to clean a list of 10,000. You could go in there and clean 1 million if you wanted to, but I do it as you need them. Right. But it's very, very easy to do. You download the CSV file from DealMachine, upload it to Million Verifier, cleans it. It takes, maybe 5 minutes. So what happens when you clean a list like that? These email cleaning services, they check, to make sure that email's records are set up, the DNS settings, and everything in the, behind the scenes is set up correct so they know it's a real email. And then they actually ping the email to make sure that it's receiving emails so they know it's good and it will receive an email.
Right.
So, but it's relatively simple to do. I mean, like I said, just download the list, upload it, clean it, and you're done.
We had a post yesterday. Somebody commented on, they said in the past they've had problems with their emails going to spam. And I want you to comment on my response. So what I said was, if your emails are going to spam, it actually has nothing to do with the quality of the data you're using. It has more to do with you need to outsmart the Gmail algorithm, because the Gmail algorithm works really hard to filter stuff in your spam folder. If you look at your spam folder, you open it up, you're going to see stuff from businesses you actually know, like Bed Bath and Beyond, or whatever, before they went out of business, or Walmart,
Navy,
all this stuff.
Right? They're all in there.
Their algorithm is to filter out sales type messages. So you have to, that's why you, David, have multiple email accounts, right? And that's why you limit, it sounded like you limit sending 20 per day from each account, right? Yep. And then if you create a new email account, you go through a warm-up period, which takes maybe 2 weeks, right? So that's to train the algorithm of like, oh, the activity on this email account looks like normal behavior. So that's really kind of important. And if your stuff's going to spam, it's because of those factors.
And I can I'll dive into and answer both, kind of respond to both of those things, David. When these cold email systems that are specifically designed for that, the one that I use is called Instantly. But when you use these systems, you load up your emails into the system, and then they have an internal warm up. So what they do is your emails start emailing other people's emails that are on the system. And you never see the emails. It's done, behind the curtain, but they email back and forth and they have conversations. So like my email's emailing somebody else on Instantly, and it's saying, hey, did you want to meet Monday for lunch at 10 o'clock? And then that email responds back and said, yeah, that'd be great. So they have a conversation. And it starts out, they send a couple the first day, and then they send, 2 or 3, the next day, and they slowly, gradually go up to how many emails that you're going to eventually, start sending a day. So, and typically they say 2 weeks, 2, 3, some people say 3, 2 is really good enough. So that's how you do the warm-up process. The other thing is in what will cause you to go to spam, more likely to cause you to go to spam, is what's said on the email. Right. So you can't use any spam words, in your email. And these platforms, a lot of them have like a spam checker. The one that I use has a spam checker. So you can, after you put your email in there, you just click, check or preview or something, and it'll give you a score. Right. So every email that I've written for people in my community, I'm getting 100% spam free score on, right? So you have to be careful about like when you're using words like cash and sell quick and things like that. You want to use other words, right? You don't want to say things like that. So we make sure that the email is clean of anything that's spammy, right? Zero spam. The other thing that the system does is uses something called spin text. So when we import our list and we map the fields in the deal machine list. So we map first name, last name, email, property address, county, city, all those things. So when I create the email, or when you create the email in the system, we use the property address in the subject line. We say, regarding in that, or quick question about, property address. And then within the email, we have a few more words where our fields where we'll put in the county, hey, reaching out about your property in Hillsborough County, or located here, there. And then we have very short email. You don't want to get wordy. You don't want it to be really long. So we keep it like 3-4 sentences. But those sentences have spin text in it. So you give it variations. So like opening line is it'll say either hi, hello, howdy, insert the first name. Reaching out, wanted to talk about whatever. And it's giving variations of what you want to say. So every email that it sends out, it's spinning the text. So each one is very unique, right? So it's different name, different property address, different sentences, right? And then even the opt out where I say, hey, if you don't want to, receive my emails anymore, just let me know, or just hit me back and say, take me off your list. So I even have variations of the opt out. So every single one is different. So if we loaded up the same email and sent it to 400 people every single day, they'd go, this is spam. But these are very customized and very individualized emails where they just seem like normal conversations. That kind of cover it, Dave?
Yeah, I didn't actually say the spam words to this person in the Facebook chat, so I'm glad you added that extra
Yeah.
bit too.
So, and because they look for all that, right? And AI guys and like all the technology, Google and Outlook and all of them they're very proficient at spotting spam, right? So you have to so that's why you have to set one of these systems up correctly. You can't use just free Gmail accounts. You have to buy some domains and then set up emails for those same domains. Typical rule of thumb is one domain per 3 emails, right? So you don't have 20 on the same, system, same email domain. And right, so we're doing things just so they get by spam filters, so they land in the inbox, so you're getting response rates, and people are reaching back out to you and saying, yeah, want to sell, or even the people that say take me off your list aren't bad, because they're showing that people are responding to you, right? So it's not like SMS where they're saying, what's the word they always use in SMS, like remove or stop, right? So it's not like that, because SMS services will pick up like if everybody keeps saying stop, right? But email's not like that. So you're saying, hey, if you don't want me emailing anymore, just hit me back and say take me off the list, and they do, and that shows communication. Often I'll reply back and say, hey, thanks for letting me know I took you off the list, right? So it's emails going back and forth. So once you set this up, it just runs, right? So you set it up, you can set the hours of the campaign. You can set, right now I'm just running one email, because I'm going through different lists and seeing, what my response rates are, so I can report back to everybody. But you can set up steps to it. So you can send one this week, one next week, one the following, right? So you can do like a full campaign. And then as soon as somebody replies, you can turn it off so you won't send any more of the campaign to them, right? Once they reply, you can make it stop. But it's something, why I put this together, other than to use the email data, was, I like I said, I've had the wholesaler's toolbox for 12 years or something like that. And a lot of the people that, are in my audience or on my email list, they're brand new. A lot of them work 9 to 5 jobs. A lot of them don't have time to drive for dollars all day, every day, like I did when I was full-time wholesaling. A lot of them don't have time to cold call all day long. So this is will either replace that, or you can do in addition to that, right? So if you're working at the Ford plant, but you want to wholesale, right? You can let this run while you're working, get home and respond to the emails that are in your inbox, and set up appointments to go look at houses on weekends. So I was looking at something that was effective for the people that I try to help, right? What can they do, right? Because people have a hard time with generating leads, and you guys all know it, right? You've got to. That's one of the hardest parts of this business, right? Because you can learn the rest of it. You can learn to negotiate, and you can learn to do the numbers and all that. But if you don't have any leads coming in, you don't get a chance to learn any of it, right? So this gets the leads coming in. If you're good at closing, you're going to close a lot. If you struggle with closing, I mean, it's giving you leads that you can work. And what I'm even advising people to do, a lot of people in my audience that aren't good at working deals, I'm saying JV with somebody, right? Find somebody good in your market. I did it here in St. Petersburg, Florida, because I got a lot going on and I don't have time to run leads. So I found a good wholesaler, somebody that's got an actual business, right? And they were full-time at it. And I said, hey, let me send you the leads I generate and just do a JV with me. And they're like, absolutely, let's do it. So, 60-40 split, since they're doing the work, I'm just generating the lead, but I think that's more than fair. So, if you've got other things going on, that's an option too, to set up a JV partner and just send, just hit forward on the lead and send it to them. Anybody got any questions?
Love it. Got some good ones in the chat here. So we had a few people asking around systems and tools. Ben Mises, are you in a spot to be able to unmute? I know you had I don't know if David answered all your questions there, but
Yeah,
there we
David,
go.
good to meet you. This is an interesting channel. I'm really curious. Really, two questions. One, are you having success with the inboxes being Gmail that you're creating? Are they Outlook or like server side?
The ones I'm currently using are Gmail. But you can do, but people are running. So when they set these systems up, they do Gmail accounts, but they're not the free accounts. They're like a domain account, like they're G Suites, right? So Gmail, Outlook. Some people are using SMTP successfully, right? It doesn't affect it that much because some of these agencies that are sending out email, I mean, they're sending out millions of emails, right? Or hundreds of thousands of emails. We're doing a lower level, right? Like I said, we're, 20, 30 a day out of each box. It's not like you're overwhelming it and they're going to go, wait a minute, right? But you can set it up in the software I'm using. If you want to buy domains from Outlook and buy domains from G Suites or wherever, you can say, I only want G Suite to email G Suite, and I only want Outlook to email Outlook, because there are other people on the platform who are doing massive amounts, but I don't think we're doing enough to where it matters.
And that's through Instantly, you said you're using?
That's through Instantly. Yeah, I'm going to drop a link. I've got a school group. I'm going to drop a link. I've got like a course in there to how to set all of this stuff up. But yeah, Instantly, Million Verifier, and DealMachine are your main tools in there.
Cool. And I guess the last one, I'm curious for your take on close rate, how it's like compared to SEO or pay-per-click or direct mail.
We've got a couple deals under contract, since I've started doing this over to my JV partner. And I've told everybody in my community this already. What I'm really trying to stay away from, because I hate like coaches and gurus that go out and go, hey, do this and make 6 figures in 90 days, right? Because everybody is going to market to different lists. They have different closing skills, right? Different negotiation skills. Some people, excuse my language, some people suck when it comes to talking to people. Some people are really good at it, right? So I don't want to, I'm just showing that it generates the leads, people interested in selling, right? Then what you do with the lead is more on you. And I'm also advising wholesalers in my group to make a relationship with a realtor, right? So when you get those leads that are not wholesale deals, you can flip them to a real estate agent, right? If you got leads that maybe would be good for a property manager, set up a good relationship with a property manager. So you're utilizing all the leads that are coming in. So you're not going, oh, only these are good. Now I'm going to throw the rest away, right? So, work with somebody that does like negative equity and does creative finance deals and so have more options. But my like I said, on the vacant list right now, I'm running about 4.7% response rate. I'd say about half of those are good responses, right? Somebody, wanting to do something with the property. So, and I'm getting, probably on average 2 a day that are potential wholesale deals.
Wow, that's impressive.
Love it.
So,
Oh, go ahead, David.
so if I gather this right, you're using Gmail accounts, but you can also buy specific domains and have the G Suite.
Yeah, they're Google, but they're G Suite emails,
Got it.
right? So,
Okay.
and there's places you can buy them at a discount. The mail I'm using, in the course, there's a company called MailScale that you can buy all your domains and emails in one place, right? And you buy them. And then as soon as you buy them, you just download a file, a CSV file, and upload them in the cold email software. So literally it takes you, in 10 minutes, you can buy your domains and emails and upload them.
Okay,
Quick,
got it.
fast.
So the actual cost of that, what is a domain these days?
It
Cost a
is
year?
that service. The domains are $10 a piece
A year.
or 7 to 10, I think. And
Yep.
then the emails are about $3 a piece a month.
Yeah, okay, got it.
So when I set up this whole system, right, because I was trying to keep it affordable for everybody. So when I set it up, Deal Machine, because I told everybody to use Deal Machine because I like your data. So Deal Machine, the cold email software, and the emails, right? The domains and emails, it's about $320 a month for everything. So if you guys are already Deal Machine users, you can figure $200 a month to run cold email.
Looks like Zach's got a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Yes, I have a question. So, I take it you said that you do about 20 emails a time, kind of to cut back on spam. Are you personalizing these emails? Are they copy and pasted? Like, how are you doing it to do like are you emailing 20 people at the same time with the same message, or are you personalizing with their actual address in the email?
Yes. So I'm emailing 20 people a day, me personally, 20 people a day per email account spread out through the day. But I have 21 emails going, right? So it's 20 per account throughout the day. So, and there's settings in there. So I've got it set at like 7 minutes apart, and then it will like throw in like a random 6 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever after that, right? So it goes at random time. So it's not every 10 minutes or anything like that. And then, like I said, within the email, we're using spin text and we're bringing in their name, the property address, the county that's in, the city, and then the other sentences in the email are spin text. So it's rotating what it says. So every email that goes out is specific to that person.
Gotcha. So each person is receiving 20 emails a day.
No. They're
No.
only receiving one email from
Okay,
you.
I was gonna say I'm
Yeah.
pretty OCD.
No.
I'm like, dude, if I would be like, no, I'm
No.
not talking to you.
So let me break it down.
I'm sending out like 400 emails a day, all to separate people.
Okay,
Right. And each one of those emails are individualized, specific for that person.
gotcha. Sorry, David, were you gonna say something?
Actually, David, I was wondering, was there a specific list that you prioritized pulling to start emailing?
Yeah,
David,
I always like since I started wholesaling, like my favorite's vacant, right? I just like vacant property because they're vacant, they're doing something with it, right? Somebody's moving, somebody's, it's a probate, it's something's going on with the property. So it's always been my favorite. But what I'm doing and why I'm not running sequences, I'm just mailing once, is because I want to move through the list quicker. Because I told everybody in my community that that's my goal, is just to see what emails are working, what lists work best, right? And I just want to go through it quicker, right? But I've done tax delinquent, and tax delinquent's like a lower response so far, under 3, but the leads have been really good, right? The leads that I have gotten from it are good leads, so I like those. Um, so response rate, I mean, like, I mean, both of them have brought good leads, but 2%, 4%. I mean, if they're bringing in deals, I don't care which one it is, right? So what I'm getting ready to do next, it might be the next list that I run, matter of fact, is I'm thinking about doing mailing in cash buyers. So I'm going to make up just a quick criteria form, and I'm going to send out an email and say, hey, and I'm going to pull a list. It's, cash buyers, single family homes in the, county, that have bought in the last 12 months, right? And kind of narrow it down, that own multiple properties, and just send them an email and just be like, hey, subject line, hey, or regarding whatever property, and then just say, I saw that you bought this property, in the last few months. Are you looking for more? Right? I've got like some below market deals. Are you interested in being on my list or something like that? And seeing how quick I can build a cash buyers list that I have like buyer criteria for with cold email, because I think it'll be super effective. Um, back in my olden days, like when I started, I did that with postcards. I would get buyer data, I'd send them a postcard, and I'd say, hey, through public records, I saw you bought this property, interested in buying any more, and had my phone number and had my website on there. But I think with email marketing, it would be a lot quicker, a lot more cost effective, and probably very effective in getting people to email back saying, yeah, I'm looking for more properties. Here's my criteria. And being able to, build a list in Tampa or Dallas or St. Louis or wherever, in a matter of a couple of days, have, dozens of interested cash buyers on your list. And in my opinion, I mean, that's something that's honestly probably better than, for your own local market, probably something that's better than Investor Lift, right? Because, Investor Lift gets investor, phone numbers. I've been on that list before and I wasn't actively buying, right? And they're sending me shit. So I think that if you're looking for people in Deal Machine, are buying multiple properties and have bought recently in the name of an LLC, they're going to be a pretty darn good candidate to get an email and say, hey, are you still buying?
Question for you. Do you prefer plain text, or do you put any kind of logos or photos in the emails?
All plain text. So in a cold email, drastically limits your deliverability if you put HTML code in it, if you put links in it, any of that stuff, especially your first email, right? If you like, they email you back and then you say, hey, here's my website or something like that, that's fine. But the first email that you send out, you want to make sure there's nothing in it other than plain text, right? No logo, no pictures, no nothing, right? No links, none of it, because we want it pure plain text. There's even a button in Instantly where you click it and it makes sure there's no embedded HTML code, and it cleans it all out. So you can make sure that the first email you send out is just pure text.
Great stuff. Really quick, we had a couple questions in the chat on like, okay, how do you use that Deal Machine data and for email addresses like this? Just for anybody who's not familiar, I'll share my screen here just for 1 second. If you're in Deal Machine, so for example, here, if I wanted to take these 119,000 leads I have in my Deal Machine account, you can select all your properties right here and then go over to lead actions. And if you scroll down, there's an export leads button. And so you see all these email addresses right here. Obviously there's phone numbers and things too, but all these emails you can export at that point and, do what David's talking about here.
So, and then when you're doing your criteria, Matt, you want to put in your under the contact data or the ownership data, you want to make sure that you say only contacts with an email.
Yep. And you can even change the columns that you're exporting by, and it's all customizable right there.
Right.
So
go in, well, you don't have to do it, but when you go in and you're building out your list and you're building your criteria, under or ownership data, you want to pick has email. That, I mean, because you don't want to run a list that doesn't, right? Or that only
Yep.
has half emails.
Yeah.
Not
So,
in there, in the
yep.
actual,
Oh, you mean the filters you're
when
talking?
you're building the list. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you can filter by that as well over here. So,
Yeah, and
team-
also I noticed Matt has the scrub DNC list on. You don't need to have that on.
Yeah, let me get into that. Yeah, that's a good question. One, like, we don't have to worry about do not call list because we're not calling them. So there for email marketing, it's called the Can Spam Act, right? So the Can Spam Act regulates email marketing. So this is all Can Spam compliant, what I'm doing, or what cold email is. But there's things that, and I've got it in the course, but there's things that you have to abide by. One is we're not being deceptive. We're being very clear in our subject line in the email what it's about, right? So we're not trying to get somebody to, invest in crypto and I like all that weird stuff, right? So we're being very clear, about your property. I'm a investor, I'm a wholesaler, I'm a whoever reaching out about your property or interested in selling it, whatever. So we're being very clear. And then we want to give them an opt-out. So I'm not putting a link in for opt-out because I don't want any HTML in there, but it doesn't have to be a link. I've got a PS and it just says PS, if you don't want me to reach out again, just let me know and I'll take you off my list. And I have 3 different variations of that. But those things, the clear intent, clear subject line, clear, message in the email body and the opt-out are the things that we have to focus on, to keep it Can Spam compliant. So they don't have to opt into a list. They don't have to do anything like that, but you have to take them off the list if you request it. So in the, it's called software system, you just go in, click that email, add them to your block list, and the system will never email them again. Even if you upload another list, right? If you're doing vacant the first time and then you do one that's absentee, you up that. If their email's in that absentee list, the system won't email it to it anymore.
Perfect. Can you mentioned talking about your community and course. Can you throw those links in the chat here too?
Yeah, I'll put the link to the course or to the community. So I've built out what I did, guys, when I built this. There's the link to it right there. It's on School. It's called Real Estate Inbox Leads or REinbox Leads. And I debated, and I actually talked to Matt about it when I was getting ready to do it. I was debating between course and community, right? And cold email's like a new thing to everybody, right? It's different. People aren't used to doing it. So I didn't want to build a course and just go, there you go, you're on your own. Right. So I did it in the community. I built a course in the community. Community is only $29. But I do twice a week Zoom meetings, Tuesday, Thursday, 1 o'clock. And then, anybody in the community is free to, to message me and say, hey, I got a question about this, or, I'm writing a different kind of email. Can you help me with it? Or check this out for me. So, that's why I did the communities, because I just didn't want to like leave everybody on their own, to succeed or fail. I wanted to be there and help everybody on it. So that's why I did it that way. Right. So it's all laid out. I was very, just one thing at a time, and explain the cold email. And then I have you, get the domains and the emails, and I have you sign up for instantly so you can start building out, or start adding your emails. Then, I get into DealMachine and then cleaning the list and all the way through. Right. So it's very methodical, step by step in the course.
Yeah, like I mentioned, we're about a week or 2 into it from, for me doing deals here in St. Louis, and my business partner's loving it. So great work on that, man. But
Yeah.
um
Yeah, I think I try to keep it, because it's a complicated topic if you're brand new to it. Once you do it and once you build it out, like you get it, like, after that, it's fine. But, it's when you're doing something for the first time, you've always got questions.
mhm. I had a couple more that I found here. Great questions in the chat throughout this too. People
I just
really
saw
into it.
one. Are you required to have a website to support this? No, not at all. Right. You have to get domains, but you don't. Actually, with cold email, if you already have a domain, you don't want to use that just in case you did something and you get marked as spam. You don't want to ruin your website or your domain. So we actually buy lookalike domains or something, that's, home buying related or something that says realty in it. So it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be, your company, just something close.
Perfect. We had one, let me find this. And you kind of reiterated this a bit today, and it's in the course, I know, but can you reiterate one more time, like next steps after receiving the email response? I know you said like, hey, if you suck at sales, then that's a it takes getting reps, right? But can you reiterate for people like, okay, you send the email and what's your ideal flow to get to that deal there?
To me, for me, what I'm doing currently is with my JV partner. So I just sometimes I'll reply back if they say, yeah, I'd love to get an offer. We've been thinking about selling or whatever. I'll reply back and say, great, can you shoot me your phone number, and we'll give you a call. So then when I reply back, I'll forward that to it. Sometimes I just forward the email and let him handle that. If you're working the lead yourself, I mean, you want to go down to the same path. You want to take it from email to phone conversation, right? Pretty quick. So you don't lose them. And so you have their phone number. So hey, what's your number? Let me give you a quick call, get them on the phone. And then you just go in. I mean, like everybody on here probably knows it, but then you just go into qualifying them. If it's me for a wholesale deal, I want to make sure that they're actually motivated to sell, that the property needs work. It's not, a retail priced property, and just go through, find out their motivation. And, if it looks good, then, then to schedule something to go look at the property. If you're doing it virtually, get pictures or have somebody go get pictures for you and start through your normal process. Right. So that's pretty easy. But if you are new and and you're worried about, burning through your leads, I mean, like any market, there's people that will team up with you, right? Because everybody wants leads. And if you master this, then like you're worth gold, right? Because you're the one that can generate leads. So you can team up with, I mean, I tell people in my community, like whoever you work with, you want to vet, right? Because there's a lot of people who say, oh, I do a lot of business, right? I'll do the leads for you. But, everybody says that. So, you need to talk to them. When I met the guy here, I went to his office and we sat down. Like he had a board on the wall with all the deals he's going through. We talked about recent deals that he closed and all that. So I knew that he was legitimate, right? But that's my suggestion is either, whoever you pick, and if you're choosing from 3 or 4 people, either go meet them for coffee, get on a Zoom call with them or something, and really vet them and say, how many deals have you closed? Give me the addresses of the last couple of properties you closed. Ask them some questions, because if they're legit, they won't mind answering them. But if they're trying to, pretend there's something they're not, then they'll go, oh, I don't need to show you that, right? But anybody that's legit, they don't have a problem showing you any of that stuff.
Yeah, agreed. Last one I see here in the chat was we had somebody ask around, do you have an opinion on, because we have, it's mostly like personal email addresses, right, inside Deal Machine.
Yeah.
So do you have any thoughts on that versus business emails, like the effectiveness or any different approach, or just
like when you're mailing out?
Yeah, like do you see that as an advantage or a disadvantage in
Well,
any
they've
way?
got to be a .com or a .net or something like that. You can't use, I mean, like if you wanted to do like your name,
Sorry. I meant the other way around. Like the data that we have in Deal Machine is mostly personal emails versus like,
yeah, that's fine. That's
business
like,
email.
yeah.
Okay.
It's not all personal, because if you do, if you run a list of like investors or cash buyers, a lot of the emails are company emails. So it doesn't matter, right? Right. It doesn't matter if you're going to their company or their personal, as long as the data's matched up correctly and they're the owner of that property. That's all you care about, right? Like you just want to get to the owner, right? Who owns it. So I don't care if it's personal or a company email or whatever. It's just, I don't even check for that, right? Just mail to them.
Yep.
It's a numbers game, right? It's like anything. It's like, like I said, it's like driving for dollars or sending texts or making phone calls or anything where you just want the volume. But the nice thing about this is it's not labor intensive. You set it up, you let the emails warm up, you load your list in there and you let it go. and check your email box, right? And it's, go work your other job, come home and check your emails, or still go do your driving for dollars, but come back home to, 3 or 4 leads in your inbox, right? So it just amplifies what you're already doing.
Great stuff. Everybody here, jump in the chat. Kim, thank you for doing that. Jump in the chat, give David some thank yous here, and show some appreciation. I know that was awesome about how specific you've gotten. We had a bunch of people jumping in saying, your stuff. I agree, man. So, last question. Stefan said, when there's multiple emails for a property, do you email all of those?
So yeah, great question. So in Deal Machine, you have, you'll have multiple email address lines, and really the first one is the one that they're tagging as the most accurate, right? So I'm taking out the other ones, right? I'm just using the email in the first line, because the other ones could be older emails or emails that aren't being used as much, or it might still be active, but it's my Hotmail account I opened up in 1999 that I haven't checked in 15 years, right? So I'm just using the main email because I want better deliverability, right? You could add the other ones and you could clean the other ones and use it, but we want a good open rate, we want a good response rate. So I'm just I built a little file cleaner that takes those other emails out, and that's in the course, right? So you upload your clean list and it takes those out of there.
Yeah, you built that yourself.
I did build it myself.
You went to great lengths.
And that was a pain.
Yeah. I know Dan, our head of product, was like, man, he built that himself. Not bad. So, yeah. Well, amazing. Really appreciate you being a great resource for the community. I agree, down to earth, and always trying to bring the goods there. I love it. So if you check out all the resources, we shared your link to join REinbox again one more time. We've got all the networking spreadsheet, Facebook group, office hours, podcast, reach out to me for the Teams plan, all of that we've been sharing in the chat throughout today. So, David, again, appreciate your time, man.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me on. And guys, anybody, I'm in the Deal Machine group. Reach out to me if you got any questions.
Fantastic. And everybody else, we will see you all same time, same place next week. Thanks.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David. Bye, guys.